Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm the CEO and founder of Poppy, and I'm here to share all of our tips about how to sell to the budget couple. So, today you're going to hear three things from me. You're going to hear who I am, why I know anything about selling wedding flowers to the budget couple, and how I got into flowers. Two, I'm going to tell you about a way that you can earn additional income with Poppy. More on that in a minute. And then I'm going to share all of our sales team's best tips and tricks to selling to the budget couple. So these are folks who are spending $5,000 or less. All right, let's get into it. So, just to be super clear about who I mean when I'm talking about budget wedding clients, our company, Poppy's order minimum is $1,750. Our average customer is spending about $3,500. And to date, I launched the business in January 2020. We've sold over 5,200 couples their wedding flowers. So, a quote that we think about internally a lot is I think the only way to maintain profitability is to meet the needs of customers. So, we have gone after this niche in the market of those lower budget clients that often were kind of others may be wanting to leave behind as they're climbing up into higher and higher order minimums. You can make a profit on lower budget weddings. It just takes process, a lot of process and a lot of discipline. So, just quickly, I'll give you a little bit of background about who I am and how I started this company. So, about 10 years ago, I was working in communications for the White House Drug Policy Office. And I had worked in a communications, PR, public affairs career for about 7 years. Um, this is just like a few vignettes of my time at the White House, at the DNC. This was like a poetry event that the First Lady was leading, got a snap of her. And the upper right is me and Laura Dowling, who was the chief floral designer of the White House at the time. And then just this is us and Diane Rehm after we did an NPR interview. From there, I left that communications role. I was working in digital strategy, speech writing, media, sort of the whole gamut of communications. And I left and I went to work for a company called Urban Stems, which is an e-commerce bouquet and gift delivery company that delivers nationwide. On the left there is the very first wedding that I ever did the flowers for as my friend Caitlin, who I had met at work. It was her wedding on July 4th of 2015. And that's my husband, Michael, who works at Poppy as well. And then in the bottom right is my colleague whose husband and best friend from college started Urban Stems, and that was us on one very long Valentine's Day. When I was at Urban Stems, I was the head of merchandising. So I traveled all over the world sourcing our flowers. And in the upper right is me at the equator in Ecuador. We buy a lot of flowers from farms in Ecuador at Poppy, at a greenhouse where they were breeding and growing flowers. Some early Urban Stems bouquets with our signature green burlap. And then me again, just in a basement warehouse on Valentine's Day one year. While I was at Urban Stems, my husband and I got engaged. And though our wedding was ultimately published in Martha Stewart Weddings, but knowing that that was a possibility, I went all out on the flowers. And I did the wedding flowers sort of the Poppy way. So in that I found these old photos in the upper right here. You can see the sketches that I made for our tables and for these like hanging Vanda orchids that I wanted over the tables, which you can see in the lower left. This is a picture of our reception before the dinner, and we did have some hanging Vanda orchids there. And then what I did was I bought all of the flowers from the farms and the wholesalers that I was doing the buying for Urban Stems, and sketched everything out, recipe'd everything, ordered everything, then realized, wow, I have a lot more flowers here than just me and one other designer who I had asked to help me can handle. And so went back to the Martha Stewart Weddings editor and asked her if she knew any freelance florists or any florists in Austin, Texas, where we were getting married. And she put me in touch with some amazing florists, including one who just freelanced. She didn't have her own business. She didn't want to have her own business. She just freelanced. And I got to know her pretty well over those like 3 days before the wedding. And that sort of got my gears turning about, okay, well, I know that there's this like group of freelancers and business owners who want to supplement their income. And at Urban Stems, customers were asking us, like, can we buy wedding flowers from you? Can we buy wedding flowers online? Can they be affordable? So I knew that customers were and clients were interested in an easier, more affordable way to buy wedding flowers than what they were encountering. And I knew that there were a lot of florists out there who would be happy to be connected to those couples. And so that's sort of where the idea of Poppy was born. And then in 2019, the planning began. Of course, this is 2020, but this was us at our first bridal show. This was in Washington, D.C. before COVID started, our very first photo shoot here on the right. And then Marion, who is one of our original florists, she's in the Washington, D.C. area, and she has done 100 weddings for Poppy. This all started sort of like at the height of COVID. So and then this is our original website, very, very first website. I found this in my camera roll. And then texting with someone on my team about how excited I was that we hit 700 followers on our social account. This was the first wedding that I did for Poppy. I was our first florist. And this couple was actually scheduled to get married in Austin the week that COVID all started. And so they pivoted and did an elopement here in the DC area. And I did their bouquet and did a little foraging on top of that. Since then, Poppy has grown a lot. Like I said, we've sold over 5,200 weddings. I have raised $10 million in venture capital, angel investments, friends and family. Most of it is venture capital and strategic investment for the business. After our first year, we were featured in Fortune magazine, on the Today Show. I've spoken on stage all over the country about Poppy, and we got some great coverage from TechCrunch and Crunchbase News for our 2 rounds of funding. So if you're not familiar with how Poppy works with florists, we work with florists in 2 ways. Up until now, the only way to work with us, up until very recently, the only way to work with us was to freelance for Poppy. So over the last 4 years, 5 years, we paid $2.5 million out to florists who have worked with us to fulfill wedding orders, which I'm really, really proud of. The folks who have signed up for the Poppy Designer Network like us for a lot of reasons. It really varies based on the season of life that you're in, the season of your career that you're in. But one thing across the board that's true is that we create flexible work that works with your schedule and helps you fill in the gaps in your calendar. We handle everything from ordering flowers, writing the recipes, getting the flowers and the hard goods to your front door, all the design guides, all the back and forth with the couple, all the logistics, everything. We handle all of the admin, customer acquisition, marketing, everything related to acquiring the customer, converting them, getting the payments from them, and placing the orders, like everything. It just shows up to your door. A florist that I met in the last couple of months said that it's like we hand you the wedding on a silver platter, which I thought was a nice way of putting it. And then I think that enables floral designers, florists, to do what we do best, which is design the flowers. So we've got about 1,000 florists that have joined the Poppy Network. This is a map of where they all are. Our biggest markets correlate with basically like the most populous cities in the country. DC was our home market. I live in Charlottesville, Virginia now, but DC is a really big market for us, along with New York. And then like all the, top 20 big cities, but then we're obviously in a lot more cities than that as well. So Sarah and I have been working together for a couple months, and what I wanted to do was get the word out about this new program that we launched in October called Poppy Partner Network. And what it is very simply a referral commission program. I wouldn't call it like an affiliate program, but it's sort of similar to that. So basically what I realized was I looked at our budget mid-year and realized, okay, like we're spending a lot of money on Google ads and Facebook ads. And I think that these couples are already going to a lot of florists, probably a lot of florists in our network and others, and discovering that they can't afford them and that their order minimum is above what the couple's budget was going to be for flowers. And so what we're offering is when you encounter a couple like that, they're not meeting your order minimum, or you're not available for that weekend, or you don't want to do it because the style isn't your deal for whatever reason, send that couple to us. And when they book with Poppy, we'll send you a 10% commission on the booking. And we'll give you right of first refusal to be the designer on that job as well. So you can earn on the front end and on the back end. It's super easy to join. You just, if you're interested, we'll send you the contract. You just sign it, do a quick onboarding video, then you're in our portal. We have like a whole portal on the back end where you can track all of the leads that you've sent, where they are in the process, and how much money you've made. And we've already started cutting our first checks from referrals, and it's really exciting to see hundreds of dollars going out the door to florists who all they had to do was send us their lead. So the referral process is super easy. You can either email the referrals to our team, or you'll send the unique referral URL that we generate for you within your portal. You'll get email updates for each milestone of the customer. So like when they book, and then when your payment is going to come. And then you can keep track of all of it in our online portal. So this is just a little view of the back end of the portal. And this is where we have resources for you about the easiest way to make a referral to us. We also share email templates and language to just make it easier to like pass the couple on and still like have it feel good. And we have a little bit more background information as well about who's a good fit for Poppy, and just everything in the service of trying to make this easy for you. So now I'm going to tell you about our process. So like I said, it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of process to make money at this budget level, but you can. So I'm going to show you how we do it. So first you take our quiz. So if you're a couple and you're Googling like wedding flowers, Charlottesville, Virginia, you'll hopefully find Poppy and click in, and then you'll hit our quiz. So this is what you see when you hit our quiz. This is on mobile. You click in to get started, and we immediately show you a color palette option. So you can choose your color palette, and then you tell us your date, and we check our availability on the back end to make sure that we can service your date and your location. We ask a couple like basic questions. This is just like an inquiry form, basically. So this is Sarah and Kenneth. And then we ask you kind of where you are in your planning, how many guests you're going to have, your target budget, which I know is hard for couples to know. Like it's just a starting point. Then we capture email and phone. And then the couple jumps into their proposal. So we create proposals instantaneously. There's no one on the back end like building the proposals. This is the software that we've developed where when you give us that information in the quiz, we can then spit out some proposed options for you. So when you told us that you liked the blush palette, we're showing you a bunch of different options in that palette that you can then choose from, tweak, customize. And from this view, you can then connect with your floral consultant. So we have a team of about 12 floral consultants, and they are all floral designers by trade and training. They are going to get on a Zoom with the couple, walk through their proposal with them, make sure they understand everything about their venue and about the look that they're going for and what matters to them. And then clients can see their pricing and totals change in real time. So that can be self-service where they're doing it on their own or with their floral consultant. So our consultants have, before coming to Poppy, usually sold a lot of wedding flowers, and then they quickly learn the Poppy sort of process. So they're all like super trained, experienced floral designers who know their stuff. It's a Zoom consult. You've done a million of them, I'm sure. Nothing out of the ordinary there. One nice thing that I like to call out for us is that we have a pretty low deposit. So we have two options. We do not require 50% upfront. The two options we have are you can either pay $1,250 of a deposit. That's like the big deposit option, or you can pay $249, and then you make monthly payments based on your contract value leading up to the I think 60 days before your wedding. So clients love this because it's a no interest, like no financing way to sort of break up the payments and make it easier to tackle. And I think that that flexibility is really appealing to clients. So this is what that looks like on our page, on our payments page. You can choose from one of two options, and then we automatically calculate that monthly payment plan. And then once your credit card is in, you're agreeing for your credit card to be charged at that rate leading up to your event date. We also capture in great detail all of the logistics of the day of. So we're basically generating a run of show for the day of, the way that like a wedding planner would, that we then can give to our design support team and the actual designer who's going to be physically arranging and delivering the flowers. So like we know every venue needs a COI, or most of them do. That can just be like, that's an option within the logistics form for the client to check. So this is just like a little preview of what it looks like, but it's just like a very long list of details that our floral consultant will gather over time from the client so that we know we're like super buttoned up on the day of. And then finally, like I said, we have 1,000 florists that work with Poppy as 1099 freelancers, and they're all vetted, on average have 5 years of experience. And we have a designer support team the week of the wedding that is like kind of troubleshooting one-on-one and like any coaching as needed with the florist. For the first 3 weddings that you do for Poppy, we ask you to send more photos to that team than you do later on once we've already established a rapport with you. But we have a process where you send us photos when the flowers arrive, after processing, during design, and then at the event. And then once you graduate into what we call low communications or low comms designer, then you don't have to send as many photos, but we still need verification that you're doing the work and that it's set up at the event as it's supposed to be. And then we do all of this over text message and then within our designer portal as well. And then our team is on call for like anything that goes wrong. If product comes in bad, they'll work on reordering it for you. They're just like the SWAT team. So because of this, we've gotten over 500 5-star reviews, which we're super, super proud of. A lot of times too, because like these are people who maybe felt like they weren't going to get flowers at their wedding, and then they ended up with flowers they were really happy with that they could afford. So just like a little bit of an overview before I get into like the deep tips. So the way that you can turn a profit at this level, and still like all of these images, by the way, are real Poppy weddings. So like we're not like doing like, it's not like, they're beautiful. Like they're really beautiful. Everyone on our team has, I think, very good taste. But you have to be really smart about how you're ordering. So your recipes and your ordering have to be super tight. You cannot overorder like out of emotionality or fear. Like you have to trust that the flowers are gonna, like, write your recipes and then order to the recipes. Like I'm very big on recipes. Be really careful about the stuff you're ordering. Like if you look at this image here, there's a lot of like roses that are blown or reflex that gives some like interest and texture and like beauty and dimension without risking like having sweet peas. Now that I say that, I'm looking and I'm like, are there sweet peas in here? But like, don't buy sweet peas. Butterfly ranunculus do really well. They're like got great movement, very bouncy. And then like maybe you can splurge on a gorgeous allium, but like have one splurge stem, not more than one. Obviously choose larger blooms that take up more space. And then when you have blooms that you can make bigger, like roses, like use your mechanics and do. For processing, like don't be precious with your stems. Like, if you don't have one, definitely get like a stem chopper, like a bouquet chopper, and just like chop and drop. Like, flowers can take it. Don't take up, like, spend a minimal amount of time on processing. Like, do what you need to do, but don't like overly belabor it. Okay, so here are some examples of poppy weddings so you can see the type of work that we do. This was in San Francisco. Love this one. This is an LA wedding, and like you can see, like it's beautiful. Like, the other thing that I wanted to call out is, like, it's important. One of the ways that the two like main reasons I think that we're able to be profitable at this budget level, there's three. One, we have scale. So we're doing, like, in our peak last year, we're doing like 100 weddings a weekend. So the dollar margin can be smaller per wedding because we're doing so many. Two, we buy flowers directly from trusted farms, and we have buying power. Like, we're buying like millions of dollars a year of flowers, and that gives us some negotiating power to go first, just to like have the ability to buy directly from these farms, and secondly, because we're buying so much, we have some ability to negotiate the price. And then third, we've built the quiz and the proposal builder, and there's like all this procurement technology on the back end that like compresses the amount of administrative time that it takes to service a wedding to like way less than any other system out there. Like, we estimate that it's about like 30% of the time that you're spending on a wedding is administrative, and like we take what takes hours and hours, we take it down to like minutes, because we've spent a lot of money. Like I said, I've raised $10 million to build this business. Like, a lot of that has been spent on building technology. Back to the flowers. This is the Chicago wedding. Love the color here. This looks very like stately and stunning in Virginia, where I live. I love the color palette on this one. Like, this was such a beautiful wedding, and you can see, this isn't a great picture of it, but you can see the floral arch above there too. Okay, so talked to our sales team, and I got all of the like real deal tips from them on how they close deals. So I'm going to get into it with you. 1, be relational. So a lot of us, a lot of people on our team get into wedding flowers because they did their own wedding flowers because they couldn't afford the wedding flowers that they thought that they wanted. And then we get into this business, and I think a lot of us aspire to, like Sarah, start selling more and more luxury weddings, and you kind of lose touch with that girl that like did her own wedding flowers. And that's who a lot of our clients are. And it can be really stressful. I mean, cast your mind back there at a wedding planning. It's stressful planning a wedding. All this money is going out the door. And so it's just like, have some empathy for that. And it can be frustrating when, day in and day out, that you're encountering folks who are questioning your value or questioning your pricing, to like have that empathy. But we try to remember, one of the values of Poppy is remember to love the journey. And I know that for us, it feels like we're saying the same stuff over and over again. It's easy to forget that every person that we talk to, it's their first time planning a wedding. Not every, but most of them, it's their first time planning a wedding. So we want to hear them, make them feel heard, respond to their emails within 24 hours. Just like generally extending empathy goes a very long way. Second, our sales team is very creative, and we come out front with the like repurposing ideas. So every bride and groom is Googling all day long about like how they can make the most out of their flowers. So we just like come out in front and offer those creative solutions. So like, for instance, like a grounded floral arrangement can then become like an arrangement on a urn or a stand. And then mixing and matching centerpieces to create some visual interest without like breaking the bank. So a few elevated centerpieces and then bud bases all around, or just like really focus on where you think that the dollars are going to go the farthest. So creating like an amazing head table that is where the photography is focused, and then bud bases everywhere else can still make like a nice impact. And then our team said be cutthroat. So cut the items that won't make a big difference but are adding up, like boutonnieres for the groomsmen. If you really are on a super tight budget, like, is anyone going to notice? Probably not. Cocktail hour flowers, don't need to push those. Cake flowers, don't really need them. Chair posies, again, it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to like really make a statement with the aisle, like, do you need the chair posies? And then sign flowers, like, maybe like a touch of greenery is a nice like out, but you really, no one's going to miss that there weren't flowers on the sign. Like, no big deal. So our team like just kind of puts these things on the chopping block. And I think it can be really refreshing for clients when you are telling them what they don't need to buy rather than like pushing them to buy more. And then I know this is like kind of controversial, but you can be DIY friendly. So we have couples who, they'll spend like 2,000 with us on personals, and then they want to DIY some other stuff. Okay, fine. Just do it. Like, we're working with them. We even have some clients that will mix in like silk flowers or stuff that they've made in advance. That's fine. We'll be DIY friendly. I know that it can make things a little bit complicated when you're trying to pull stuff in your portfolio. But our goal is to try to get wedding flowers to as many people as possible. So we work with them to let them DIY like certain items. And if there are certain things like they just like want to do their bud bases themselves, that's fine. The goal is like the budget client will happily buy from someone who's helping them and supporting them rather than saying the things that they can't do. And then being really flexible. So like I said, I think an unlock for us is having this like flexible payment plan and a lower deposit option. So I would encourage y'all to think about having like lowering your deposit and see what that does for folks. Okay, so getting into the weeds just like a little bit. When we think about recipe writing for this client, these are the 4 tips that our team thinks about the most. So concentrating on larger blooms to fill up more space. Like, this is probably like, I don't know. This is limonium that you're looking at here, this image. This is limonium and Queen Anne's lace, obviously. And limonium and it's Italian ruscus. This is cheap and very bountiful. And this, I know this wedding, they actually got married the same place I did in Dripping Springs, but very like ethereal, modern vibes can be achieved with these like not focal, but filler that's used almost as focal. So consider that, especially with the popularity of like hanging amaranthus and like the more kind of like sculptural stems that are at the forefront right now. I think you can get away with some creative things. So choosing flower varieties that are tried and true are going to be the best option for your bottom line. You're gonna have to overbuy if you buy the more tricky varieties, especially like Astilbe, Astrantia, like don't even get me started on sweet peas. Leave those for your luxury clients and give your budget clients the stuff that you know is gonna hold up. Also, so in our team, we think about like color complexity when we're putting orders together. So the less color complexity there is, the better your margin is going to be on that wedding. And the more complex the colors are, the more expensive the product is going to be. So even in our recipe writing software, we have like, I don't know, unichrome, like dual chrome, trichrome, tetrachrome, and that like we know that will increase the cost when the color complexity goes up. So like your white and green weddings, guide the budget clients to like a more basic color palette. And I am loving the trend of the mono bouquet and like just the white roses, because white roses can be tricky, but it's so much more affordable to buy products like that. And then of course, like, we're not guaranteeing stems, okay? Sell the look, sell the palette, do not promise stems, because all everyone is going to get fixated on the peonies or the dahlias or whatever, and they're not even going to know that there's like beautiful garden roses that can work just as well, or beautiful chrysanthemums that kind of look like dahlias, and you don't have to worry about all the stems, like all the petals shattering. So sell the look, sell the color palette, sell the vibe. Do not promise exact stems, because that is a guaranteed way to torpedo your margin. Okay, so those are all our tips and tricks. And now I'm just going to let you know that if you're watching this webinar and you want to partner with Poppy as a Poppy partner, selling us those leads that fall below your order minimum that aren't going to work for you, as a thank you for attending today, we will, on top of the 10% that we'll give you when they book with us, we'll add on another $100 on that first booking. So get paid. And I'm going to end with a video that we put on Instagram a few weeks ago and seems to have really resonated. And I know how hard this business is. Like, I know I've been in flowers for over a decade now. And I have been a business owner for 5 years. And it's a tough business. And this video celebrates all the work that goes into what we do. So thank you for joining. Enjoy the video. And I hope to meet you soon. This is a video for florists. The next time someone asks why wedding flowers cost so much, I want you to show them this. Show them how much love and time goes into what we do. Show them this greenhouse. Show them Liliana and Blanca. Between them, they have 20 years of experience, and Liliana is known to sing to her plants. Show them the dozens of hands that grow, harvest, and prepare their flowers. Show them this post-harvest building, where flower quality experts have spent years learning to grade flowers and only let the best ones get to you. Show them the work a florist does just to get ready to design, cutting and hydrating and organizing and carefully inspecting each stem to make sure everyone is picture perfect, and the dozens of hours she spends designing, all for the most important day of someone's life. She knows that bridal bouquet is going to be in photos that are framed and hung in living rooms for decades, the most sacred memories. You won't probably ever meet the people in this video, and you may not have known they even existed before today. But if you're buying wedding flowers, I want you to know that those flowers are a love letter to you from so many women who have dedicated their lives to beauty, and that I think is worth it. This is a video for florists. The next time someone asks why... I love that video. I recorded that at like 11 p.m. one night. I was so tired, and I just opened up my voice memo and started ripping. But yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you for joining. This is also a real Poppy wedding. I just really love this bouquet. And we'd love to have you as part of the Poppy Designer Network, as part of the Poppy Partner Network. We are here to increase collaboration and community within our industry. Truly believe that there is enough clients for all of us, and we want to dovetail into that segment of the market that the luxury florists don't want. So we're here. Hopefully some of these tips were helpful for you if you are working with clients in that range, or even higher, like make more money. So thank you so much for following along. And if you want to be in touch, shoot us a note at partnerships@poppyflowers.com.